Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we're getting right into the examples. On the first example, I was saying that there is a base and a height, but it does not necessarily give us, there's a base and there's a width, but there is no height. So I'm still gonna go about this the same exact way I was before. Volume equals length times width times height. And I'm going to replace the letters with what I know. It says right here, it already gives me the volume. So I'm gonna write the volume is 52 1/2 equals. It says the length is 10 and the width is 3 1/2. And then because I don't know the height, I'm just gonna leave it as h. Okay, let's tackle this problem together. What should I do first? I think I can solve that first. 10 over 1 times 7 over 2. Do some simplifying, and I get 35 over 1, which is the same as just saying 35. Then I still have to multiply it by h, and on the other side, I still have 52 1/2. Okay, where do I go from here? Well, I know how to solve this. Draw my line, start on the side with the variable. The operation is multiplication. In order to undo multiplication, I do the inverse, which is division. Divide by 4. Sorry, not by 4. Divide by 35. And I'm going to be left with just h on this side. If I do that on this side, I also have to do that on this side. Divide by 35. This might take some scrap work, so I'm going to come up here. 52 1/2 divided by 35. Okay, 105 over 2. 2 times 52 is 104 plus 1 is 105 divided by 35 over 1. Keep flip. 105 over 2 times 1 over 35. Remember, we can't do division when you do multiplication. I can do lacrosse for this problem, and most problems today are going to be able to use lacrosse for. It goes in 3 times and 1 time, so I get 3 over 2, changing that back to 1 1/2. So my height is 1 1/2. Now I'm talking about height, so it's just going to be inches. It's not going to be inches cubed. It's not going to be inches to the second power or third power because it's not volume or area. It's just the height. Okay, number 2 looks a little bit different. It tells us the base of a rectangular prism is 3 1/4 inches. The height is 2 1/2. What's the volume? I'll start with my volume formula. Volume equals length times width times height. I know from the problem that the height is 2 1/2. Now, unlike number 1, it doesn't give me the volume. Instead, it says the base is 3 1/4. What that's telling us is that the base, we know the area of a rectangle is length times width. So this 3 1/4, they've already done the length and the width together for us. So it's actually saving us a step where we only have to do one multiplication problem instead of 2. 3 1/4, 12, 13 over 4 times 5 over 2. Gives me 65 over 8, and changing that back to a mixed number gives me a volume of 8 1/8. We are doing volume here, so it's inches to the 3rd power or inches cubed. You can write either of those on your paper. Okay, like I said, these are some challenging questions, so you're going to want to make sure that you are pausing the video, checking your answers as you go, and giving me a call if you have any questions. Okay, go ahead and get started. Unpause the video after you've done your practice on your own. Okay, let's see. It says the volume is 11 1/4. I wrote out my formula, and I'm going to replace volume with 11 1/4. It doesn't matter which one I leave blank. It says we don't need to know the length, so I'm going to leave that as L times 3 times 1 1/4. What can I solve first? I can solve this first. 3 over 1 times 5 over 4 gives me 15 over 4. Now, usually I would tell you to change this back to a mixed number, but I'm actually not going to do that right now. I'm going to just keep it right as is. 15 over 4 times L. I'm going to keep it as improper because I'm going to end up using that anyways. To solve this, divide by 15 over 4, which leaves me with L, and divide by 15 over 4. So this problem right here is what's going to tell me my length. 11 1/4 divided by 15 over 4. 4 times 11 is 44 plus 1 is 45 over 4 divided by 15 over 4. It's a division, so I keep flip. 45 over 4 times 4 over 15. I told you there'll be lots of opportunities for lacrosse today. So my answer is 3 over 1. So my length is 3 inches. Make sure you're putting your unit on there. Number 2. Volume equals length times width times height. The problem for number 2 tells me that the volume is 1.512 and that the base of the rectangular prism is 0.63. So volume is 1.512. Length times width, it tells me, is 0.63. Remember, when it says that the base is, it's already done the length times width for me. Then I need to multiply by the height. To solve this, divide by 0.63, and I'm left with h. Divide by 0.63. This is a problem that definitely requires a lot of scrap work. 1512 divided by 0.63. I cannot do this problem right now because there's a decimal on this side, 1, 2. If I move it twice there, I have to move it twice here, 1, 2. And I get 63 into 151.2. Okay, I'm ready to solve. Bring my decimal up. 63 goes into 151 2 times, 126. I subtract. I get 252. 252, 4 times 63 is 252. So I'm all done with that. My answer is 2.4. So the height is 2.4, and my unit here is meters. So I'm going to write my final answer is 2.4 meters. Okay, one more that we need to check. Number 3. It says the area of the base is 4 3/4 and the height is 2 1/3. What is the volume? Volume equals length times width times height. It says the base is 4 3/4, so the length and width together is already 4 3/4 times a height of 2 1/3. Change these into improper. 19 over 4 times 7 over 3. Can't do any simplifying, so I'm just going to have to do 19 times 7, which is 133 over 12. I'm going to divide this to change it back to a mixed number. Remainder 1. So my answer for this is 12 1/12 feet to the 3rd power. Again, some of our answers will look a little crazy, and that's okay as long as we're following the steps. You have 3 more problems to do before your exit ticket. Go ahead and solve them now. Pause your video and come back when you're done. Okay, let's look at this first one. Volume equals length times width times height. I know that my volume is 150. Do I know my length or my width or my height? It doesn't. It says we're trying to find the height, which means my length is 4 and my width is 3, and I don't know that height. Okay, it doesn't matter which order we put them in. I then have 150 equals 12 times h. Draw your line, divide by 12, divide by 12. If you need to do scrap work on that, you definitely should. 12 goes into 150. There's 6 left over. And of course, we need to simplify that final answer. So it's 12 1/2 is the height, and my unit here is meters, 12 1/2 meters. Okay, number 2 asks me what is the length of the prism below. Okay, 3 and volume equals length times width times height. It tells me that my volume is 3 3/8 times, it says I don't know the length, equals, let's erase and make that less sloppy, equals length times 1 1/2 times 1 1/2. 3 3/8 equals length times 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. So 9 over 4 times length gives me 3 3/8 in multiplication. It doesn't matter what order we're going in. Divide by 9 over 4. Divide by 9 over 4. This is a scrap problem that I'm going to have to do off to the side. So I'm going to come down here to do it. 3 3/8 divided by 9/4. Notice again, I didn't change it back to a mixed number because I don't need to do that till the end. 27/8 divided by 9/4. 27/8 times 4/9. Keep flip, flip. I said there's lots of opportunities to do lacrosse today. 3/2. And change that back to a mixed number so that my length is going to be 1 1/2 inches. Okay, you can text me for extra credit if you notice something about this problem and it tells us about the shape it is. Go ahead and text me 847-769-4731. What do you notice about this problem? One last one we're going to do all together before you guys get in your exit ticket. It says it has a volume of 6 feet and the area of the base is 2.5. What is the height? Still going to start with my formula. Volume equals length times width times height. I know that my volume is 6. It says the area of the base is 2.5, which means length and width together are 2.5. I don't know the height. Draw my line, divided by 2.5 to get h, divided by 2.5. So my math problem is 6 divided by 2.5. Can't do that. Got to move the decimal once. 25 into 60 goes in 2. Subtract, bring down a 0. 25 goes into 100 4 times. So my answer is the height is 2.4 feet. Okay, like I said, this is the most difficult lesson that we're going to do for a while. You just have one exit ticket question. If you're not sure, if you're getting stuck, or if this is difficult, go ahead and call or text me. You can also join our office hours today from 11:15 to 11:45, and I can help you go through any of these that you're not understanding. And then once you've done your exit ticket, make sure that you're doing your con assignment for today. As always, again, my number is 847-769-4731. Text or call if you need any help. See you guys tomorrow.